Welcome to In Confidence, where what we share in confidence helps us grow in confidence. Today's episode is a conversation with my friend Peter Hurley. Peter is a world-renowned portrait and headshot photographer. He's done the portraits of celebrities, Olympians, CEOs, and so many more. His signature style is incredibly distinctive. On today's episode, we talk about the pivots in his life journey, how to help someone be comfortable in front of the camera, and he shares his 5 tips on how you can be photogenic in any setting. Let's listen in. Peter, welcome to In Confidence.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. I was so psyched when you asked. I was like, we got to spend that time together, and I was like, yes.
Yes.
And then we're going to come talk about confidence. I love that.
You know, when you meet someone and you feel their energy, it's contagious. I felt like we have to be friends. So I'm glad you said yes when we asked you.
I'm so glad I went out that night. That was amazing.
Yeah, you were like, I don't usually go out on a school night, and let's go out.
Yeah.
So before we get started, tell people who you are.
I am a portrait photographer here in New York, and I've been photographing people since I picked up a camera in 2000. So it's been a quarter century that I've been photographing people. And I started out as an actor, so I did these actors' headshots as an actor, and I was a horrible actor. So when I picked up a camera, I was like, okay, I'm done with that. But I realized I was like, you know what, I can do the actor headshot thing because I know I went through that process. So I started working with actors, and it escalated into a ton of different things. And now I shoot just about everything that comes my way. But I wrote the book called The Headshot, and I started teaching, and I coach thousands of photographers globally on my headshot process. And I do a bunch of portraiture as well. So it's been a fun ride, and I continue to enjoy the people that get in front of my cameras on a daily basis. It's so cool.
Well, I want to go back in time because we did a little research.
Yeah.
And you've had multiple reinventions in your career. We read that you were an Olympic swimmer. By the way, I want to be an Olympian. You heard that at dinner. A sailor. An Olympic sailor.
Yeah.
You were a model. You're an actor. Can you just walk us through all the lives that you've lived to get to this place of being the world's leading portrait headshot photographer?
Sure. It's been a fun ride. I think that I'm this type of person that just didn't ever have a clue. I always envied people who knew they went to school, they knew they were going to do this, and they just went straight into the workforce and did whatever they studied. And I went to school and I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I raced sailboats from a very young age on the Jersey Shore. I'm from Manahawkin, New Jersey, and my dad got me into it. So I was pretty good at it by the time I went to college. So I was just like, I'm just going to go to a school that has sailing. I don't know where, I don't know what. I only applied to 3 schools. I got in all 3, and I chose to go to BU. And I ended up in Boston, and I hated the sailing team. Oh. Sailing in college is a little different. I like sailing out in the ocean or in big courses. In college, I was in the Charles River, and it was like crazy, and it was not my thing. But that's beside the point. I ended up sailing in the summers. And got pretty good. When I graduated from school, the boat that I sailed became an Olympic class. So all my friends were going to start training for the Olympics. So I decided I did not know what I was going to do. I was a human physiology major in school, which I didn't know what I was going to do with it anyway. And I ended up training for the '96 Olympics. And it was super cool. I had never left the country before. I think I started training, and now I've been to every continent except for Antarctica. I think I've sailed in every body of water that there is almost, a lot of them. So it was great. I didn't make the United States team. I quit, and I ended up coming to New York, and like actually it was right around here. Donna Karan was around here somewhere.
Yes,
I got sponsored.
we're in the Garment District. Yep.
Yeah. So you came to the Donna Karan. I think it was on 40th. We're on 30th. Yeah, it was like right over there. And I got sponsored by Donna for when I was training for the Olympics. So I was decked out and all. I was not a fashion-y person, really. Not that I knew of it all, but I got decked out in all this DKNY stuff. And then the designer there, her name's Kagi Bradford, she ended up like sending me over to Ralph Lauren. And they wanted real sailors on an ad campaign.
That's right. They're all about sailing.
Yeah, well, they had polo sport going on, and they threw sailing in the mix. So I went and met with I met a designer there. They sent me the art director, and I end up, long story short, in front of Bruce Weber's camera.
Wow.
And yeah, and he was great. So the ad went global all over the world. I remember opening up a magazine and there I am in it. And it was just crazy. And I was like, this is wild. I never thought my life would go this direction. And I never thought I was that good looking anyway. I was like, why? I came to New York from Boston with my roommate, and the girls at BU called him Adonis. They gave him this nickname. So he's like, I want to go model in New York. And I was like, okay, well, I live in New Jersey. We'll go, let's drive down and I'll bring you into a modeling agency. So I went into the modeling agency with him. And they shot him down. And I was like, if that guy's not good looking enough for this industry, I certainly don't have what it takes. So I never thought it would ever, I never went down that path until this sailing thing happened. And then it was just, I finished the Olympics the first time, and I didn't make the team. I didn't do that well at the Olympic trials, but I was pretty good. In the world, I got ranked, my highest ranking was 17th in the world. Which was kind of cool.
That's amazing.
But I came back to New York and I started this modeling career. And one of my agents said, "Hey, I want to send you over to All My Children." And I went over there, and the casting director at All My Children, he's like, "Look, I'm going to start putting you on the show, but you gotta take some acting classes." And I was like, "I don't know how to act." I started taking some acting classes. I am not good, but he starts putting me like behind the scenes. So I've got scenes with Kelly Ripa, and like I'm like a hospital orderly. I'm with Susan Lucci. The first day on set, Susan Lucci comes up to me. She goes, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you. My name's Susan." I was like, she's just talking to like the extra in the back, and she was so sweet. Like things like that started to happen. So my modeling career kind of fizzled, didn't really ever take off, but I was like kind of into it, and I was like trying to find a way to make money. So I ended up in a bar. So I'm bartending. And I'm doing this model actor thing, which is barely making it. I lived in a 5th floor walk up with my brother, and it was fun times. But it was like also like I don't know how long this is gonna last. And I thought my acting coaches made me think I was a better actor than I was. It was not good.
I really think most people don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
And as I'm hearing you talk about it, I hear two different things, which I love. One is when you experience disappointment, like not making the team, or setback.
Yeah.
You pivoted to what I think of as an opportunity mindset. We're sort of like you know what? There's still abundance in the world. I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
And as I hear you talk about all the pivots you've had in your life, it's that a door opened and you're like, okay, let me go and explore that. Let me do the work and get prepared for that. And you weren't afraid of the opportunities put in front of you, even with setbacks.
Yeah. I think the universe conspires with us sometimes, and you just have to go with it. Like I call it getting thrown a bone. Like all of a sudden I'm in this photo shoot with Bruce on polo because Caggie was the neighbor of my sailor friend, and she saw me sail up to this dock and was like, "You got to be a polo model. Come on, we'll get you DKNY, we'll get you polo, we'll do all." It was her brain that got this thing going, and that opened a whole new door for me. So the way my life is kind of woven in this, I just kind of go with the flow, and it worked. I was like, I'm just going to go with it, and it worked. But the failure along the way were the things that actually spurred the pivots. Like if I had been like, I was terrible at I think I really was not a good actor. I was okay on set. I would have to say I'm a terrible auditioner. Like the pressure of getting an acting job was way too much for me. Like my face would start shaking. I was so nervous. If you got me on set, I was good. I would do okay. But it was just not for me. And I even knew the day I knew, I got a job on Guiding Light, but I was used to being on All My Children. I had never been on Guiding Light, and these things run like well-oiled machines. Like they're like the actors come and go, and they're just like whatever. So I get there and nobody talks to me, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna like the directors were up in this booth. I didn't even see them. They were behind glass or something, and I just hear over the loudspeaker, okay, we're gonna run through the scene. And the other actors, I was like kind of shy, nervous guy on set, and I was like, where am I supposed to be? And we ran through this scene a couple times, and then they said, okay, we're done. And I thought we were done, but apparently we were just we were just practicing. I didn't know. So I left. Nobody said anything to me, and I'm just standing around. I was like, I'm just going to leave. So I leave. And I remember I got on the bus to go back home. My manager called me, and she goes, where are you? I'm like, what do you mean? We did the scene, and I left. No, you didn't. You were just practicing. Like, they're wondering where you went.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, my gosh.
I'll head right back there.
That's what I said. I was like, should I go back? And she's like, no, they hate you. They don't ever go back. And that was the day I quit acting.
Oh, okay. Well, but for our audience, I love those lessons when there's a setback or a failure or a disappointment. You just use that to see what the next opportunity is. And I love throw a bone. Like, you've been thrown bones, but you also, there's no such thing as luck. You were ready for them. You dove head first into them.
Yeah, isn't there a saying, like, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear or something? So and I always look at it like, I think the moments in our lives where our lives take a 90-degree turn or something is based on hitting a human. Like, a human being does that for us. So I can see these people in my, like, I have all these mentors and, like, the people who really affected me that changed the trajectory of where I was going. I think those people are the people that created, like, the runway for me to do what I've been doing. And I fell in love with photography. I mean, it was a random thing. Bruce Weber told me to pick up a camera, and I was like, well, why would I do that? And then I was like, well, it is kind of cool. I like photographers. I've been modeling. My modeling career actually went from fizzling to taking off, not monetarily that well, but I was in a ton of ads. I did Abercrombie Fitch. I did Polo with him. I did Wrangler, you know, Coke, American Express, Visa, like I did, like, Haagen-Dazs. I had a great ad for Haagen-Dazs. I did a bunch of stuff.
I love when you talk about the teacher, because you're now teaching now. So do you feel compelled to pay it forward because these folks have entered your life at key moments?
I feel it's hard for me to accept their generosity or their gratitude for what I've taught them sometimes, because I'm like, we're still going. Like, stop it. Like, you know, to see what some of my students have done with their careers has been amazing, and it's really rewarding. I have the photography landscape, like, most of the people who enter it, you know, the barrier to entry is get a camera and start photographing people. Like, it's not that difficult. And then when they start out, there's a number of things that you can do if you want to monetize it. And headshot photography just isn't on people's radar that much. And I've made it my mission to, my purpose is really to make people feel better about themselves in front of cameras. So the only way that I can spread that purpose is through my network of photographers that I coach. So that's why I'm an open book. I have over 20,000 of them on my website that work with me, that have been coached by me or have been through my program. There's 1,000 in my subscription service right now that I work with on a daily basis. So for me, I look at the people and how I regard the people that changed my life, how highly I regard them, because those doors would not have opened without that person. So I'm doing my best to open doors for people, and it's very rewarding when they let me know. But sometimes I just don't take. I'm like, okay, yeah, but you're not done yet. We have work to do. I have work to do. I always say I'm a student of the game, so I still try to get better every day with the photography, and I love my work. So I still feel like I'm doing the best stuff. Like, I had great shoots this week, and I love it. And I've been doing it 25 years.
And maybe that's what we should call it, is you have an open and learning and abundance mindset. Like, I just hear you talking, and I think about the fact that when you say you didn't have it all figured out, for anyone listening, I think it's so important to just be learning all the time, be open, not see setback as something that holds you back.
I think that's true, but I think also on things like this and on social media and people put out all the positive, you don't see the like my wife would tell you, well, let me tell you about him when he's, you know, it's like I remember doubting myself the entire way. I would be a doubter. So and people always, I get asked that question sometimes. If you could go back before, like, to the kid that picked up the camera when you were 30, what would you say? And I'd be like, stop worrying the whole time. Like, and I still do it. You know, it's still I don't know if it's a perfectionism thing or if it comes from the Olympic training part of me has this desire to succeed in whatever I do. And what I was able to do in a sailboat, I still race. I still love it. I'm super competitive, and it gets me out there. But most of my competitive nature is against myself because I feel like there's this quote that I love from Bill Gove. It's amateurs compete, professionals create. And I always feel that. So I always am thinking that in whatever I'm doing. And I try to lift up people around me all the time, whether they're on the race course with me or if they're taking pictures in a studio down the hall or whatever. You know, a photographer moved in across the hall from me. I'm like, well, how can I help you? What do you need? You know?
Well, thank you for acknowledging how hard it is, right? Because I think it all looks shinier on social media.
Yeah.
And that, I really think, you know, darkness cannot survive the light of connection. And when you're vulnerable, you're like, oh, okay, he's human too. Like I look at you on social media and I go like, he's the world's best headshot photographer. How could he have any doubt in his life? Yeah. How do you overcome doubt?
I just look at it as rhythm. I mean, I think you can't have an up without a down. So if I'm not, what I try and do is manage it. So if I'm really flying high and things are great, I'm just like, okay, chill, you're good, everything's fine. Don't go crazy freaking out about everything being wonderful, because eventually change is always apparent. We're always changing, things are always changing. I feel like I've always got to change. People told me, like, you've been shooting a white background with bright light in people's face and chopping them off horizontally like this for how many years? You can't keep doing that. And I keep doing it. And I'm like, but I keep tweaking it a little bit along the way. But it's like, if you don't change, you're caught in a paradigm and you get stuck in this comfort zone and then you just mill about. And I think milling about makes people, I think we're just, as human beings, we're so driven. And I think that driven gene is maybe it's a little bit stronger in some people than others. I think you combine it with some belief and expectancy and you got a great combo. I always had this notion that I was kind of unstoppable to me, not to other people, but I was like, I want to be the best at whatever I'm doing. Fortunately enough, I had two loves of my life that I competed at the highest levels at, which is on the photography landscape in that arena. I never thought I would have a global following or anything, but it just happened because of the work ethic, I guess. But with the sailing, I still get to compete at the highest. Yeah, I sail my age group now, and I'm going to Italy for the World Championship, and I just got a new boat yesterday. Like, I'm still pumped about getting on the boat, and that's my creative outlet. So, and being in the studio with a new human being is really my jam. And I think that as humans, we have, in the looks department and the way that this is such a conversation about confidence, because we're born into this vessel, this body that we have, and we're stuck with it while we're here, and we don't know what to do with it. We've never done it before. So as we age, we've never done that before. So we don't know what's going on. And as we, eat, get in shape, get out of shape, our aging process according to how we take care of our body changes. It's morphing the whole time, and how we feel about it on a daily basis changes. And then the importance of it to people changes. Like I get some people that come in and they look all disheveled and a mess and they don't care, and that's the way they are. And I'm like, well, I should shoot them that way because they're totally chill. And then I get people that are dressed to the nines, put themselves together completely, and then they walk in and all they do is all negative stuff comes out of their mouth about their appearance. So I get the whole gamut. And as a portrait photographer, trying to make somebody look their best and feel, it all goes back to my purpose of making people feel better about their appearance. Yeah. The picture is going to go out, right? So I want that person to look at that picture and be proud of it. Yeah. But the backlash I get from their mouth, like about just having to create that image, and even after I've created the image and I believe it represents them perfectly, they have to warm up to it.
Well, let's get into it, because I'm. What makes a great portrait?
To me, a portrait is a picture of a human being, right? And a headshot is just a close-up portrait of their face. So I don't know who called it headshots, but it's like a picture of your face. It should be a face shot or something. I mean, I don't know. It's not really of your head. It's just a close-up portrait. So there's talk amongst photographers that a portrait has a depth to it, or doesn't necessarily have to have any personality involved in it. It could just be an image of them in thought or whatever. A blank stare could be a portrait. When you come to headshot photography, my belief is that it's more of a personal branding, picture. So how do you want to see yourself out there? And most of my clients, I would say 90% of the people I photograph need this want or need. For me, I have to shoot everybody like this. Otherwise they don't, I don't feel I'm doing my job. I think human beings want to look confident and they want to look approachable in the same image. So there has to be a warmth about them, but also a knowing. It has to be like this vibe that you get from it. I like my people to look like they're in a thought process when I photograph them. And in order to do that, it feels strange to them. So this is really where I take it. But I decided to challenge myself, and I just try not to. I usually try not to do any research or meet the person or do anything. I do a lot of trust building. Like I in 2009 when I opened my Twitter back then, which now it's not, I put in the little bio, 90% therapist, 10% photographer. Wow. And because I thought that I needed to get people, and I think it's the photographer's quest is always like, if you're a portrait photographer, how do I get this person to behave with me, to get something interesting out of them? And I thought it was therapy. And I was like, it's not therapy. And I realized it's not therapy.
What is it?
Building trust.
Building trust.
If they trust me as an expert, they'll do what I need them to do.
Okay, we're going to get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
I want to step back for one moment, which is why are people so nervous in front of a camera?
I've thought about this every day since. I think it happens in adolescence when we're figuring out, what we are, like who we're attracted to, who we want to spend our lives with. If we want to attract a significant other or whatever, we have to feel something about our appearance. Because I never had a 10-year-old walk in the studio and go, Peter, I should have lost the 10 pounds before I got in here. Like, they don't care. They're all like, whatever. Yeah. Like, they don't, but then all of a sudden you get into like the 12, 13, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds or whatever. When I shot a lot of kids as I did it, it's like it starts to become apparent that they care way more about their appearance. And I think in this day and age now, if you're an adolescent growing up and you're seeing all these influencers, you might want to be out in front of camera and be that might be something that you might aspire to. I think that, when we were asked what we wanted to be when we grew up, you would never say influencer.
No. Well, and we in our book we talk about between the ages of 8 and 12, you start to become self-conscious because there's
there it is.
A wider social circle, shame, embarrassment, disappointment, setback. There's all these things where you start to shortchange yourself or you look at your flaws, and That's kicks off this lifelong balancing act where you're self-conscious.
Wow.
And then it easily becomes self-doubt. Yep. And I imagine that when people walk in the room, they bring their inner critic before they bring their best self out.
Well, I'm ripping the Band-Aid off. That's the problem. They've got it covered. They don't ever, most people will not, except for to me, most people, I would say, maybe some close friends, they normally would not talk about their appearance to other people. Some people it just doesn't come up. Some people are very open about it. But with me, it's, you got your work cut out for you today,
Well, and I dress a lot of women, and I always say their inner critic shows up before they do, and they've set themselves up to fail in the dressing room.
Wow.
So how do you build trust with them? What do you do to have them put that inner critic to the side?
Well, the first thing is that I'm very visual. Like, I can't walk down the street without looking at people. The human face is the most interesting thing on the planet to me. So I'm like looking at everybody. It's crazy. I think this is funny. It's a good thing I'm straight because I'll just look at it's like, imagine if I had to check everybody out.
Women, men, non-binary. Everyone's open examination by Peter.
I am examining everybody, but anyway.
Good thing I have a lot of self-assurance. I have no anxiety in having you deep dive into my face, Peter. Go for it.
Oh my gosh. I just love it so much. But the thing is that the beauty's always there. I mean, we're human. Like, we're lucky to even be here. Like, it's just amazing to me that, and the beauty for the individual is there, whatever that is. And maybe that's making them feel beautiful inside and something shows up on the face on the outside. But for me, it's like I look at that person and my bar that I'm trying to hit is the best picture they've ever had of themselves. So my bar is different than what their bar may be for themselves, which may be to be more attractive or seem more attractive. And some people, when they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. And that irks me. Like, it's really, it's a shame. Now, I modeled, and I think I got lucky with my parents. I feel like I'm a decent looking human being. I like my looks. I actually, when I modeled, I felt way less attractive and way more concerned about my appearance than I do now. Like, I feel like
So you understand the person that you're taking the shot of because you've been in that position as the model.
Oh, yeah. But even more as a photographer. Like, I had Miss Universe, I was shooting her and she told me she couldn't stand her face. And I was like,
how?
What
You're Miss Universe.
What am I going to do with this?
So I'm coming on set with you. You're taking my headshot.
Yeah.
What are you doing with me on set to get me to be comfortable or to at least get that best shot out of me? I'm looking forward to this, by the way, Peter.
First of all, you're a very outgoing, open personality, so I would be very open with you with whatever I'm saying. Like, I think you could handle any feedback that I could give you, and you just ingest it and spit it out it's just, that's the way, since I met you, that's what's there. So for me, it allows me, you would actually up my energy. So the energy between us would be so high in the room, most likely, because it kind of is here. Like, I was excited to come here, and so I'm already like, Lisa's out there, you put yourself out there.
Can I tell you why though, Peter? And I feel the same about you.
Have you always been that way?
No, I haven't always been that way. And but by the way, with photography, what my mindset shift was I'm 45. So I remember the days of film. Do you remember when you had 24 frames and you guarded each frame jealously because you knew how expensive it was to go and develop it and wait 2 weeks for it to show up, and you had to go and go to the drugstore and look for your last name. Yeah. And back then you were just happy to have a photo. Half the people's eyes would be closed and you just were like, I remember that moment, right? And I'll frame the one good one. Yeah. When it comes to digital, I'm always like, well, I got 100 frames. Let's just go, right? Because you only need one shot. Yeah. And that's why I'm not afraid of the camera. Yeah. Also, when people in group shots are always like, oh, do you want to take it again? I'm like, no, it's fine. Let's operate like it's film. So maybe that's my mindset. Yeah. But it took years to cultivate not being upset with, oh, I look a little puffy in this one, or I have a double chin. And at some point, you're just like, I just want the memory. And I remember the days when you only had one frame and half the people's eyes were closed. I mean, that's the reality. Yeah. So what do you do with someone who's more introverted?
I bring myself down. It's mostly, the first is the body language tells everything first before they even open their mouth. So I watch people when they come in, and it's a behavioral thing. It's been years of doing it. It became the number one thing to me because the technical stuff on my end's all done. I started with film. I started developing my own film. I remember not knowing what the results were going to be. And, I was in the dark room I would do all my processing in my apartment, not far from here. And then in the weekends, my mom was out in Jersey, so I set up a dark room in her basement. So I would go out there and do my prints. And, to this day, it's like I miss that a little bit, but I never knew what I was getting until it was there. And I think the photographer, as the film photographer, had to kind of do all this coercion to get stuff out of people. Now with digital, I don't have to coerce them into anything. I show them. I'm like, look, I shoot tethered into a screen. I'm like, there it is. The proof's in the pudding. I can teach them. So I coach them through that process. And some people handle looking at themselves very well, and humans have the capacity to learn generally. So they learn mostly through me showing them. Now I have a system where I don't show them until I get something good. I don't want to dig myself a hole.
What's the system?
I kind of hide them behind. I put them behind it's a whole thing, but I put them. It's not even. It's just happened. It just evolved like this. People who I coach have said to me, and people who have shot with me, is that I get away with saying things to people that other people don't. I mean, people will say things to me about their appearance they just don't tell people, and I can tell people about their appearance that things like it's your teeth are ridiculously white, right? 94% of the people that come into my studio, I tell them, you really should go whiten your teeth. Like it's like a huge percentage. So, and I feel like I have the ability to say that because who else is going to tell them that? Like they just don't get told that, so they don't do anything about it. And I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Some people really need it. Some people don't really need it. But if you look at the images that go out there, people like I have AI now retouching, and you just flick a slider and it straightens people's teeth and it whitens them. And it's like you can do anything in such a fake fashion now that I'm like, look, I could fix this, but you should go get it for
your own benefit.
Daily stuff. But that kind of thing, like I'll say to them right off the bat, like I just feel like I'm there. If they're hiring me to produce an image of them, like I want them to go beyond the studio. I'm actually coaching them for life, not for the picture that we're going to create. I have a quote that I say all the time is that the image is just a byproduct of the opportunity that I had to give somebody. So I want them to have this experience. And the experience is because look, I did this, you mentioned the double chin thing. Number one way to make someone, and are we getting into tips?
Yeah, we're going to get into tips in a moment.
Should I wait?
No, I mean.
Number one way to make somebody look more attractive is to get their jawline out. So if people sit up straight if you're getting photographed, or if you're stand up straight, and you just put your chin slightly, your forehead actually, you don't want to do chin too much, but forehead toward the camera. I did a video on this. It went viral. In the video, I, for some reason, yelled the word shebang. At the moment. That
is your signature thing.
Yeah, I know. And then it went viral. So now I go everywhere in the world and people yell shebang at me.
I love that shebang.
Like
okay,
crazy.
I've got it. I'm going to be adding it in. I'm going to go back to something you said earlier, which is I build trust with people. What is your formula for building trust with someone?
I think there's like a number of ways to do it for each individual. For me, the number one way I do it is through my expertise. I think if somebody's an expert, and I notice this when I work with companies and I do the C-suite, and most of them, even like the CEOs and stuff, when I'm brought in, their team has usually found me. If they trust the person that brought me in, they're like, obviously, you better have brought in somebody good. Yeah, they usually allow me to do my best work. If they're in that role. I've gone into companies where I've shot the C-suite and I've gotten that kind of attention. Then I've gone to, the people that are underneath them, and it's a different ball game. It's like they're trying to prove something. Like they don't take my direction as well. Where I've had CEOs, what do you want me to do? Tell me, you're really good at this. Just let's do it. And they work like that. So it's an expertise thing. So if somebody doesn't allow me to show my look, 25 years of it, nobody does this better than me. That I know out there. So I'm not going to allow somebody to take it upon themselves to do it at all. The human beings, if somebody's controlling, they're going to be controlling with me. I've found, I used to work with a psychologist. I did a TEDx talk on this, and it was called Bridging the Self-Acceptance Gap. And we did some work with companies where we went in and we worked on what they did. And I found that the controlling people, like when anybody taking on a challenge, they behave the same way, whether it's a challenge of taking their picture or it's a challenge at work. Anything, basically, the way I trained for the Olympics is the way that I picked up a camera and figured this out. There's a reason why I'm very good at what I do. It's the same. It's like in our DNA, the way we use our brains to figure things out. So I watch the clicking in their brain and I go, oh, okay, I get it. So some people are so used to performing and getting there on their own that they don't allow me in. So it goes in one ear and out the other. And I'm like, oh, they're this person that needs to do it that way. Yeah. So I need to work with them that way. Some people are like, okay, you just tell me what to do, I'll do it. And the others, it's such a wide range. And it's not something that verbally can be said. I can't say to the person, I did say that one time I said to this guy that I was shooting at I was like, have you ever been told that you're like not really a team player? He goes, all the time. Oh. I was like, yeah, why are you making this so hard on me?
So you
I'm
called
like,
him out
what
on
did I
it.
do? I called him out, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, has that been a problem at work? He goes, yeah, I don't work well on teams. I'm like,
man.
There you
Maybe
go.
you are the therapist. Maybe there is some therapy involved.
Well, it's funny. It's like I go and I see the way people behave with challenges, so I kind of know what they're doing. I had Evie,
Our
Secret
mutual
Service agent. Yeah,
that's how I met you.
It's funny. She was coming in for years, and she never told me she was in the secret. She was trying to act, and she didn't. She gave me like an alias name and stuff. And then one day she came in, and she's like, well, I have to tell you something.
Well, she's in the Secret Service. She keeps our secrets. She keeps our nation's secrets.
I loved it. But she said, can I bring my husband with me one day? And I was like, and Des, I had never met him. And the other thing, so part of building trust is, it's an individual effort when you're building trust for a intimate portrait session. Like when I do groups, I have to do things fast. I don't have time to build trust with everybody. I always tell my photographers, look, if you're gonna shoot a group, shoot everybody first, because now you've built a rapport with them, and then when you put the group together, you can work. You can give them, and I know people's faces, and I know how they behave, and I know who's the troublemaker, and I know who's the person that needs to do it on their own. I know all that. But when I'm doing, people, that one-on-one connection is so important. You can't have somebody else in the room. Like it's sacred territory. This is sacred ground, my studio. Like you can't come in there. So it's like when people want to do a portrait session with a friend, can my friend come? Can my friend help? Can my friend do this? Can my friend do that? For the photographer, it could be a little strange to say no. It could also be like the friend could be helpful. I used to have this rule. It was like an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, the friend was not helpful. 20% they were really great. So it's like you're throwing the cards in the air. So anyway, Evie comes in, and she's like, look, she called me. She's like, look, I'm not in the Secret Service anymore. Like, I want to shoot. Can my husband come? He's really cool. You'll like him. And she's like, I know your deal, but you can kick him out if you don't like him, right? So he comes in, and we hit it off. He's like my best friend now. Like, it's crazy. We hit it off. So I just went and did what I do, and he was also in the Secret Service, and they met that way, and he's been trained on all this stuff that they train on, and he's like, you're doing things that we train on that you don't even know you're doing with the human being that's in the room with me, and it's really like reading people in a way that I only through experience. It's an intuitive vibe that it's very hard for me to elaborate on, and I've tried to teach it to my students, and I can't really do it. I think it takes focus. You have to focus on the human without the tech. Like if I was photographing you, there would be no technical. It'd just be this, because my lighting and everything's done. I'm very particular about that. But that has to be done. I have to be 100% with you, and then I can see you, and then I can figure out what I want to, what I need to do, what I need to give you to get you to the next level of whatever that is for that picture, because I need it to come from internal. I don't want external. I don't want to try to. I want it to happen.
Well, I mentioned before we got started, we're doing a book on trust. That's why I was so curious about it.
That's amazing.
And one of the things we've identified is there are two mindsets that drive the behaviors behind trust, and you've just described them. So the first mindset is we call acceptance. I see you for your strengths. I see your flaws. I accept you.
Yeah.
And when I'm with a woman in a dressing room, she'll start telling me all these ugly things about her body. I just had a baby. I'll say, I love your beautiful eyes. I love all the things you've accomplished in your career. There's like an acceptance where they're like, oh, I feel very seen. Yeah. You're not looking at the flaws. You're looking at all, as you described, the beauty.
Yeah.
And then the second component we call is openness. We have built up a relationship where I feel accepted, and so now I'm open to feedback. I'm open to direction. And without those two elements, you can't get to the next level around what we call reliability and congruence, which is I can get the work done, I have high integrity, I deliver. And so you've just described the two most important mindsets that drive trust-based relationships. So
can I read your book now?
no, and
sounds
Peter,
awesome.
but I go back to your
it.
backstory.
But that's it.
And your backstory is acceptance. I know what I'm great at. I don't know my shortcomings, but I'm open to the world. I'm open to what the universe is going to give me. The throw a bone philosophy.
Yeah.
You've built a life story that connects to how you deeply connect with others.
Wow.
I hope you don't mind me going there because I'm writing a book on it. So that's actually why I'm into it.
It's like amazing.
It's also why you give away your work. You know, when you said, I have I'm just going to train people on it, I'm going to let people have it, there's an openness to your life that I really admire. I can see why you get the best out of people.
It's incredible. I feel very fortunate to be able to be at this stage where I can do that. Like people that I remember when I started, they're like, you can't. I had this thing called squinching. So I did this video. Well, when I was modeling and stuff, people just don't look cool with big eyes. Like they don't, no matter what ethnicity, yours too. Okay. When you widen your eyes, you look uncertain, or we're like deer in the headlights. So so it's one of my main tips. So I did a video on it, and went viral, and they had me on Good Morning America and stuff about it. And I remember when I started, I was afraid that the actors that shot with me would go tell people what I did with them. I was like, if this gets out, this is going to ruin my career, because then everybody's going to do it and nobody's going to come to me. This is what I thought, right? So years later, I did the video. I let it out. I wrote in my book. I talk about it all the time. I had to trademark it because so many people started using it and not mentioning me. I made up a word. I call it squinching. So instead of squinting, it's squinching, which is narrowing the distance between your pupil and your lower eyelid, which makes you look confident. It's where confidence comes from physically. It's also a pose. So
okay, can you show me squinching?
This would be like me. I don't talk to you like this.
Okay.
Like this is like, you don't talk to people like that. So subconsciously we squinch naturally. So this would be squinching. And I'm just, and if I want to really power squinch, I'm going to go like this.
Oh, interesting.
Which you're doing back at me, right? So it looks like we're in a thought process. It's the way our subconscious, if I'm trying to convey something to you, my eyes might go like this, where this is more squinchy and this is squinty. Yeah. So when I ask people to do it, they go like this. And I was like, no, that's squinting. Okay. So squinchy is just like lower lids up a little bit, like that.
Okay. I don't know if I have the muscle strength for
You're
that.
Doing it.
You're
All right.
doing
it
good.
right
I'm
back.
Just
You're doing
it
it perfectly.
On you.
You're doing it perfectly.
So, well, let's go there, because one of the most common things I hear is I'm not photogenic. In fact, I met someone recently who was just like, I don't want to be in the photo. I hate photos of myself. Yeah. What are your tips? Because you've already given me the double chin, which is just jut out your jawline, squinching. What are your other tips if I want to be photogenic? Well,
I think the thing that people forget is that most of the pictures being taken of them are not professional. So they're just they're selfies, they're friends, they're whatever. They don't understand like the amount of work that goes into figuring out your skin tone, figuring out the light, figuring out which direction the light's coming from, whether the light is beneficial or not for your facial structure. So you may be, you could look at 100 pictures of yourself and 99 of them could be horrible, and one's lit well, and you're like, wow, I look good in that one. What happened?
Actually, we took a selfie together the first night we ever met, and you made us change direction to catch the light. I remember you were like, okay, we're going to face this way. Everyone just turn over here. So that's a professional's eye.
That's amazing that I did that. I'm so glad I did that with you. That's so cool, because it comes full circle here. So there's my favorite quote for photography is a Walt Whitman quote, and he says, it's like, I don't know, I have to look it up. I should know it by heart, but it's point your face towards the sunlight so the shadows fall behind you is basically what it is. So if your nose goes toward the sunlight, the shadow will fall behind. So if my nose if you look around this room and you see what the brightest light is, it's probably that one, right? That's a little brighter than that one. So if you want to look your most flattering self, you would point your nose toward the brightest light. So what I had us do is I found the light and I had everybody put their face toward the light and their back away from the camera.
So you never want to be backlit. You never want the brightest light behind you.
Generally, no. I do backlight people for fun and mess around with them in the studio, but no. I mean, I think the general rule, if you want to look your best, is whatever room you're in, there's a brightest light source somewhere, and point your nose at it.
What if it's overhead lighting? I look really bad in overhead
horrible.
lighting. Okay, so what do I do with get out of overhead lighting?
Get out of there. Don't take a picture.
So move to where there's no overhead lighting.
Top heavy lighting's horrible because what it does is it highlights every nuance of our face, and then our cheeks create shadows underneath, and then we have laugh lines, and the laugh lines get bigger, and then our face gets more 3D.
Okay.
And frontal light, like I light people frontally, it takes the shadows and it fills them, so it flattens the face, actually, the facial structure a little bit. I call it crevice face. I had to name it because it's like if you smile and you get this, and you got top heavy light, now you got all these shadows, and then your neck's in shadow because your chin creates a shadow, and top heavy lighting is not flattering at all.
Okay, so I love your first tip though, which is let's acknowledge that most photos aren't professional.
Yeah.
You're just taking a photo to remember it. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Look for the beautiful things in yourself. Just have that right mindset. Get over yourself on that. And then secondly, look for the lighting. Okay.
Look for the lighting. So we've got get over it, right?
Yeah.
Don't be so tough on yourself. Exactly. If we talk about the getting over it part, there's a couple things that are going on right now. One is the AI photos and stuff, and everybody's doing AI, and they're all so far beyond what the person is. The one thing is it doesn't record history. It's not an experience, and it's also fake, and it's getting better. So people are going down this path of potentially using an AI picture to represent themselves. And I just think that that's so uncalled for and so unnecessary. But it's also going to be stale because it's not you in a moment. It's not capturing a moment. So we want to capture these moments, and the moments in life are captured by pictures. There's this, I coach a lot of photographers, and for some reason, firefighters have become photographers for me. And one of my friends, I always clarify this. I was like, when firefighters are running out of buildings, what do they grab? They're grabbing like out of a person's home that's on fire. If they see pictures, they'll grab pictures. Those are the memories that we're creating with photography. That's why photographers, it's so important to capture. And that's why I think it's important for people to capture their essence throughout their life from birth till they leave. It's going to be done through photography. Eleanor Roosevelt has my favorite quote, and it's, right now, you're the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be again.
Yeah. I love that. One of my friends' moms always says, take a lot of photos because then you'll get to look back at when you were young and hot.
I force people. My wife was my muse when I was a photographer, when I first picked up a camera. I met her modeling, and we went and traveled the world modeling and stuff. And I first picked up a camera, and she was the one in front of it. So I look back at those pictures very fondly. I love them. She complained the entire time, every time, all the time.
Yeah.
And now she looks back at them and she's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, my dad loved videoing things, and he would set up like the big camcorder. You remember the big ones from the 80s and 90s, and a spotlight.
No way, that's awesome.
At one of my school award ceremonies, the principal had to say, Mr. Sun, please turn off your spotlight. You are blinding all of us on stage. He's like, I must remember this. He would go to Disneyland and have like a battery pack, strapped to his back on his belt, so that he would have enough power to camcorder the entire trip.
Oh my gosh. I hope you have all that stuff.
Yes, we do. We have all of it. So that's it,
awesome.
So if we just say, let's get over it. It's just a memory. Let's remember the moment. Let's not be self-conscious in that. And then any other tips if I'm being photographed? What's one quick thing to get over the fear?
Well, I'd like them to remember, like, if the picture bothers you today that you took, like, look at it in 10 years.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like your wife.
Yeah.
If you look back on it 10 years
Everybody,
later.
I always, whenever I shoot a lot of kids, and they come in with their parents. And every time I'm always like, Mom, just get in there. Like I'll shoot the headshots, but then I'm like, you get it. No, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, yes. And I force them. And I'll be like, they'll care more about the picture of the mom and the daughter together that they didn't even come into my studio for, that I gave them. I give them the picture. I'm like, you got to have this. This is just like part of my operation. Like you can't leave without this picture. They'll care more about that in 10 years than they will the individual headshots of the daughter.
You're so right, Peter. I'm going to my 25-year college reunion this week.
Oh, wow.
And I've always had body image issues. I've always felt like,
Great.
you know what?
It's
just
it's working
thank
wonderfully.
you. And my girl group, the group of girls that I hung out with all through college, we went backpacking through Europe after graduation. And they're sending over text message photos of the photos, right? Because we had to develop them.
Yeah.
This was 2000. Yeah. And I remember thinking, wow, you're right. At the time, oh my gosh, I'm probably 10 pounds overweight and all the other girls are skinnier than me. And now I'm looking by the photo and go, I was gorgeous. Yeah. Like, look at me in Florence. I was looking hot. Exactly. And wow, that girl, she went around Europe in a backpack. You're right. Yeah. You know, in the moment, it feels doubtful and insecure, but 10 years later, I'm loving that I have that photo. Yeah. So hop in the photos. Hop in the photos.
I love when my clients come back and tell me stuff like that, you know. So we're gonna, if we get in front of a camera, the first thing we're gonna do, if we're not with a professional photographer, we're gonna make sure whoever's taking the picture, whether it's a selfie with an arm out or somebody taking the picture, that the camera is in front of the brightest light. So we're gonna put our face, our nose, use the Walt Whitman, point your nose toward the sun and then the shadows fall behind you. We're gonna put our face toward that light. That's number one. Number two, we're gonna get our jawlines out. So we're gonna stand up straight, act like there's a hook in the top of your head. It's attached to a string that's going up to the ceiling, and you're up, and then you're gonna get your gonial curve, which I believe I had a doctor tell me that that's what the corner of the jawline is, over your clavicle. So you're gonna bring your jawline out like that, and that's gonna strengthen your jawline. And that is immediately gonna make you look more attractive. Then, once we do that, it would be nice if you've taken any picture of yourself and looked at yourself, if you knew which side of your face you liked, that would be helpful. I feel like we all have a sweet spot on our face. Some people are ambifacial. Like I can photograph them on any angle, but there is still a sweet spot.
Okay.
So if you can find your sweet spot, just look, to do it, you just look at a variety of images of yourself over the years of every angle of your face and figure out which angle you think is most attractive to you, or ask somebody. There are rules around that which I have, which is, 60% of people are better looking on their left side of their face from my studies of shooting like 30,000 faces this close to me. So things of this nature. So once you figure out now you're up, you got your jawline out, you figure out your side a little bit, and then you need to I would tell everybody to potentially practice in a mirror, but it needs to be most likely a closed mouth, tiny smile, like a millimeter of a smile. Like, because if you let teeth out without energy, it looks fake.
Okay, got it.
If you have energy, I don't know that you could do a fake smile.
I can't. I'm really bad. Every photographer is always like, give me the, I'm like, no, I'm like a big smiler.
Are those pictures from the trip big smiles on you?
Yes, I'm a big smiler.
Your whole life.
My whole life. I can't do that. I just look like I have RBF, resting bitch face, if I just do a half smile.
Yeah, so you have to let it rip. Yeah. But the thing is that you also, your energy is built in. It's subconscious. Your face is doing it for our subconscious knows how to make ourselves our most photogenic.
So we got to let our self-conscious out.
Yeah, what happens is when we take conscious control of our expression is when the person looks flat and dead and loses their personality. Okay. It happens in front of cameras. So everything that I'm saying with the squinching and that, it's all posing. Like the word pose is basically calling the conscious brain to do something which we don't walk around thinking about our expressions. Yeah. Like anything we do to pose generally makes us less attractive.
I love this, losing control, like letting sort of taking the reins off of it. I do something when I do book signings or group shots, because you and I do a lot of corporate speaking things, and we'll do the post photo. And then I'm always the person who goes, let's do a fun one. Yeah. And I'll make everyone just let loose. And that's always the one that makes it on LinkedIn. And so, for example, I did a lot of posing with this book. So people would be like, take a picture with the book. I mean, let's do a fun one.
Yeah.
And the person just has so much fun and starts laughing. And that's always the one they post, by the way, is the fun shot, not the stand and smile and hold the book like we're stiffly.
Right.
I love this. It's take the pose out of it. Just have fun, lose control a little, take the control out of it.
It's also going back to what you said with film. I used to shoot a medium format camera. I had 10 frames. Like you couldn't have that much fun and you didn't know what you're getting. With digital, what do you have to lose? There's nothing to lose. Just go.
Okay, I do have an important one. Is it a chin up or chin down? Is it based on where the camera is?
It's forehead out, chin down.
Chin down, okay.
Generally, the chin down looks a little bit better. If the camera's high, a lot of people put their cameras high, like when they're doing
why
selfies,
is everyone
they
always
go like
doing
this.
Like, put the camera up.
They think they're going to get the jawline, but what happens is they lose the background. So they don't have a very nicely composed image. They're going up like this. It also diminishes you when you shoot. When you put the camera higher, it's kind of like, it's like you're looking down at somebody. I always put the camera lower to empower people.
Okay.
To make them have more dimension. You know how in 4000 BC, the kings all made their subjects kneel beneath them?
Yeah.
It's like you want the person to be empowered.
Yeah, every photographer I've ever worked with always shoots a little lower. And I'm always like, isn't it up here? Have you ever been in that where a woman will be like, please put the camera up? They'll yell at their husband and be like, camera up. Yeah. And what you're saying is actually a little lower, but you have to
there's
position yourself.
2 reasons to put the camera up that I can think of only. One is when we're outside, the sun's high in the sky. So if you put your nose toward the sun, it's going to be up, right? So that would get the chin up. And then if you put the camera up, that's okay. But it doesn't, the thing is when you're in an environment where the light is frontal, you don't need the chin up at all.
Okay.
So I light frontally, so the chin shouldn't be up because it's not as attractive. And the other thing is that when you put the camera up, you get cleavage. Otherwise, you don't. If you go down here, you don't.
I know. So I want a little bit of cleavage.
That's it.
But for the most part, you can just shoot straight on. And
but if they're going for the jawline, they're not getting their jawline. They're putting the camera up so they don't have to do the work of doing this.
Got it.
And when people do this, they feel weird. But I say feels weird, looks good.
Yeah.
So allow yourself a little weirdness.
And if you have a camera phone, just try it out. Test out a few options.
Yeah,
Take a couple of shots.
Go straight in front of you and bring the chin out and see how you look.
Any other tips? Any other reframes or things that people can do? A lot of people cheerleader. I mean, what do you do with the body?
Yeah, the body's a whole different element. I usually I try not to direct the body much at all because what the body naturally does is always usually the coolest and the best.
Okay.
Whatever you naturally do. One thing I do with some people don't get too excited about, but I love it, is I always make people cross their arms because it's like it gives you a sense of you're hugging yourself basically. So you feel, it'll mess up the clothes though, but you'll get a feeling from it. So sometimes I'll cross the arms and let the arms out, and that just takes the heat off people. And they're just like, when I'm doing a portrait session, but when you're doing a group shot or a selfie with a friend, you want to be on the side that's good for your face. You want to get your chin out. You want to do all these things. You want to get the light going, and you want to have some sort of energetic vibe. So if you have fun with it, if you can create laughter with yourself and have fun, it's going to bring out your best smile, and just let it rip, and you'll be pretty good.
You know what I always say in my dance workout classes, I was like, no one's looking at you. They're looking at the instructor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So just have a lot of fun while you're doing it. Yeah. No one's staring at you specifically all the time.
And they're worried about themselves anyway. They could care less about you generally.
Exactly.
They're
more worried about
everybody's getting the same boat here.
Well, I really love this idea of the 90% of the time, they're amateur photos. So let's sort of lower the bar on how perfect we need to look. I also love that you went and talked about AI, so I want to come back to that in a moment. And then 10% of the time when you're in a professional headshot, trust the person that's taking your photo. Be open to them. Yeah. Let your inner critic stay home that day.
Like, make sure that person has a body of work that you respect, so you can treat them like an expert, and you can go in and take the heat off yourself. Just be like, put it in their hands, and hopefully they'll be able to do their best with you, and that'll.
But that's why trust falls are so scary, right? Is because there's this there is a loss of control, there's a leap of faith, there is a vulnerability, there is a fear in it. So it is like a trust fall when you work with a professional
It totally
photographer.
is. That's interesting.
All right. So last question. Social media has made us super aware of how we look, right? We are hyper aware all the time. And you mentioned AI, we never know which photos are doctored or not. And why do we compare ourselves to images on the internet? What is this trap we're getting ourselves into with social media?
Well, the comparison game is the whole thing. Like if we didn't compare ourselves to others, we would never be worried about our appearance, right? Because we're all individuals. I have identical twins and they look completely different than me. Like to other people, they can't tell the difference. To me, I'm like, it's like we're so individualized. It's such a gift. And it's this gift that we look down on because we look at others. And then we try, a lot of people, want to change themselves. And they do. They go out and change themselves. And there's a whole industry built around that. And my thing is that I had a situation where my mom got a facelift, and when she got it done, I didn't recognize her. She's not with us anymore. So I lost a part of my mom. And it was very difficult for me to this day. And my favorite picture thank God I took pictures of her before she did that. But I mean, I never had this conversation with her because I lost her, unfortunately. But was it better for her? Did she feel better of herself for having the facelift? Or she also did veneers on her teeth that made them perfect, and they didn't look like what I was used to as being my mom. So it was difficult for me, and I never brought it up to her. I never discussed it with her, and I just didn't think it was my place at the time or something like that. But I wonder, does it matter how I feel or how did she feel about doing that? Did she feel better? Was her life enhanced because she did that? And that's really what it is. Like, are these people feeling better about themselves? There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics that Maxwell Maltz wrote about this. And he was a plastic surgeon, and he said he would fix the thing and then the person didn't change. Or he would have people that he's not understanding why the changes weren't there. So it's interesting how society driven it is, because we're seeing these people on these influencers and people that that are doing, and they look great, and you want to go down that path, and then is that really the direction to go? Who am I to say? I don't know. I think it's up to the person. The individual.
Yeah.
Individuals have to decide. With a lot of that stuff, there's no turning back though. So it's like then you have to live with whatever decisions you made if you changed your appearance, and that's kind of tough. And that's what is driving that, and why is comparison such a tough thing?
Well, what I think is ironic is I think social media was created to allow us to have connection.
Yeah.
And I think it's spiraled into a world of comparison.
Yeah.
And so I love your analogy of are you doing it for you and to be meaningful, to make a difference in the world, or are you doing it to keep up with others, to keep up with an image that you think is what's desirable or what's valued, right? I think that's the line.
I have just about everybody. I mean, I've obviously had everybody I can think of in terms of their attitude toward their appearance in front of my camera. I had a friend who was in my coaching group, and he took a picture of himself and posted in my group. And I've been coaching him for years now, but he was a burn victim. So he was an electrician and an amateur photographer, hobbyist, and the transformer blew up and it burned most of his body and his face and everything. And he posted a picture of himself in my headshot group, a headshot of himself. And I thought it was the most powerful thing, for him to do that. So I was I didn't know him. So I was like, I got to meet this guy. And we started talking and we became friends. And then I was like, look, you have to come to one of my workshops. I have to work with you. And he hadn't left his home he had left his home, but he hadn't left. I don't think he'd been away from his wife and his kids since the accident. And I think it was 2 years later when I met him. And I brought him to a workshop with me. And we've been working together ever since. There is something about him and what he's gone through that he has to share the world with, because he's able to photograph himself now. He's photographing others. He's talking about it. I've interviewed him. I'm trying to figure out where he fits in, but it makes me, and I did a conference and I showed, he came and I showed his pictures of him before and I had him speak, and, it's just very powerful what our appearance and how valuable it is to people. And
I want to bring it full circle, because I think you started with, the best images are the ones that are human. They're pure, they're genuine, they tell a story. I have a gravitas customer who has alopecia. So she has lost most of her hair, and she would for years wear wigs. And during COVID, she stopped wearing her wigs, and she fell in love, and she just really came into her own. And she posted on LinkedIn her new headshot without a wig. And I texted her and I said, wow, that was very brave. And she goes, it wasn't brave. This is who I am now. And I'm not apologizing for it any longer. And my new husband sees me as beautiful. I see myself as beautiful, and it's my most authentic self. And it is the best headshot. If you look over the years of the headshots where she's wearing the wig or the wigs, and you see this last one, you go, I see her. Yeah. I see her purely. Well, Peter, thank you so much for coming on In Confidence. This is such a fun conversation, awesome. And everyone's going to get a lot out of it. We're all going to be more photogenic, at least.
I hope so. You can hit me up with any tips if they want.
And I'm coming to you for my new headshot. It's been long overdue.
That'd be awesome.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of In Confidence. I hope you're leaving this space stronger than when you came into it. If you're like me, I learned so much from Peter today. I love his throw a bone philosophy in terms of when setbacks happen, how do you open yourself to what the universe offers you and jump into any opportunity with passion and with preparation? I love that he shared how he builds trust with others, because openness and acceptance allow us to get the best out of other people, and how every photograph, whether it's an amateur or professional, is an opportunity to be human, pure, and genuine. And yes, I will be practicing squinching as well as tortoising my neck out so that I don't have a double chin, and angling my chin down in future photographs. Thank you, Peter, for all those tips. And most importantly, looking for the light, pointing my body at the light. If you love this episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And until next time, in the words of my 9-year-old self, I see you, I value you, I believe in you. This is In Confidence.